Welcome to Grammar 4Q. In this booklet, we will be going over, you guessed it, verb tenses and forms. We'll also be going over to lay versus to lie, and of course, may versus can. So let's jump right into the verb tenses and forms. As per usual, this will be very similar to what you've been doing throughout this series, especially since Grammar 4K. So hopefully you are very comfortable with it. But of course, we want you to understand that each of these verb tenses and forms that we're working with is expressing a time or the time that an action or state of being for the verb is occurring. We are working with regular and irregular verbs, of course, and we are always agreeing with the subject, no matter if we have a simple tense or a helping verb. Our simple tenses, past, present, future, are available to us to review. We also have those coupled with our new forms, progressive and perfect. So just make sure you're going slow. This is an example of what to expect in the booklet. It's going to be the exact same thing that you've been doing in Grammar 4P and previous books as well. So just take your time. Use our reference material as much as you need to or want to, and just make sure that you're paying attention to what's being asked of you. Now let's get into the new stuff, to lie versus to lay. So this is tricky sometimes because the words are so similar. But think about this just like how we worked with rise versus raise, sit versus set. It's the exact same kind of thing. It's just that these words are so similar to each other. So you just need to go slow and make sure you're understanding what's going on. So let's just go over the definitions first. To lay means to put or place. An object is needed. Something is receiving this action. Whereas to lie means to recline, rest, or stay in a place. There is nothing receiving this action. It is just kind of a state of being. That is what you are doing. So of course we have our conjugations, past, present, future, and we also provide you the progressive and perfect forms of the verb. So laid, lay versus lays, will lay, laying, laid. Pretty straightforward. You are always saying a when you are working with laid. So just make sure you remember that. Whereas to lie gets a little trickier because we have lay as our past tense. We have lie versus lies for present, will lie with future, and lying with progressive, and laying with perfect. So kind of tricky because you can see there are some similarities, there's some overlap between these two verbs. So that's why you really have to pay attention to the tense of the verb. So like I said, to lay, when you conjugate it to your tense or form, it's always going to say a in it. You'll always have that. Whereas to lie likes to switch it up a little and has a in the past and the perfect form. So that's what you want to watch out for. So we're going to practice this with a couple of sentences. And in the booklet, refer to this as much as you want to and can. It's at the beginning of the book, and it's going to help you a whole lot. So let's look at one sentence. We have, my cat blank and the dog's bed yesterday. So what we need to figure out is this a verb that is going to be giving the action to another word? Are we going to have a direct object? Let's see. First, to figure that out, we want to go ahead and figure out if there's a prepositional phrase, which there is. In the dog's bed, OP is bed. So really, all we have left is yesterday and the predicate. And that's definitely not going to be receiving the action. That is actually an adverb describing when this action is taking place. And of course, cat is our subject. So we have a singular subject. We know this happened in the past, and since that is the case, and there's no direct object, so we know we're using to lie. In the past tense, our correct answer is going to be lay. My cat lay in the dog's bed yesterday. There's nothing receiving that action, but it also is in the past tense. So even though lay could be the present tense of to lay, it's not the correct verb in this sentence because there's no direct object. Hopefully that makes sense. No direct object, it's in the past. To lie in past tense is our right answer. Our next sentence is mother and father blank the baby in the cradle. So once again, we need to figure out, do we have a direct object or do we not? Because that's going to tell us which verb it is. So first, let's get rid of our prepositional phrase. It's going to be in the cradle, cradle being the OP. And then we have mother and father blank the baby. So baby definitely is not a PN in this sentence because we have to choose between to lie and to lay. The baby is receiving that action in this sentence. It is being put into the bed, into the cradle. Mother and father, we have a plural subject. And of course, baby is our direct object. Now that we've labeled all of that stuff, we know that the correct answer is going to be lay. Mother and father laid the baby in the cradle. In this couple of examples, I did not give you the conjugation that we're looking for. In the booklet, we will provide the conjugation. We'll give you, we want the verb in present tense. We want the verb in past tense. So you don't have to look for those context clues. But I wanted you to see the difference between the two verbs, but with the same word as the conjugation. Lay is past tense of to lie, and lay is also the present tense of to lay with a plural subject. So, like I said, take your time, look at the subject, and look for the direct object. And then, of course, the conjugation is provided. So, not hard, you just have to keep those differences in your mind. Now we're going to go into may versus can. This is a classic thing if you've ever had a teacher who says, yes, you can go to the bathroom, but may you? That's what we're getting into here. So let's just go over the explanation first. We have may and might are helping verbs that give the subject permission to complete the action. Can and could are helping verbs that show the subject's ability to complete the action or the ability to be the PN. So that's the big difference here. Some people may have already learned who are completing this book that may and might can also be a part of a helping verb that helps you to understand the probability of the action being completed. But we're not using that kind of context here. We're only working with permission. So just remember that because that's going to help you with this booklet a lot more. So let's look at examples. You may have another cookie. You are given permission to have that cookie. You go for it. You get to do it. You are permissed. Whereas the next one is, Jean can bake us another batch. Jean has the ability. She's got the ingredients. She's got the time. She can do it right now if she wants to. And of course, at the bottom, I mentioned that you're going to diagram all of these helping verbs and to lay and to lie. Just like you would any other helping or main verb. So once again, we're not learning any new diagramming with these things. They're just like any other kind of helping or main verb. So now let's apply this information a little bit more. We have our first sentence. Harry blank bake a 4-tier cake without a recipe. So has he been given permission to bake the cake, or is this an ability to bake a cake without a recipe? It's his ability. That's going to be the best answer choice. Harry can bake a 4-tier cake without a recipe. He is a very skilled baker that he can do that without a recipe. So that's his ability coming out. Whereas our next sentence, Celia blank attend the field trip with a chaperone. So this is saying if she has a chaperone, she may attend the field trip. She is permissed to attend the field trip. So yes, you could say can works there, but the best answer choice is going to be may because she has a condition that she must meet. She may attend it. She is permissed with a chaperone. So that's what you want to do. With these, they're just going to be blanks and they're going to be mixed up with blanks for to lie and to lay. So you should just need to read the context of the sentence and it should make sense. So now we're going to move on to sentence diagramming. Like I said, there's no new sentence diagramming in this booklet. Every sentence diagram should be review, should be stuff you've already learned. So hopefully it's relatively straightforward for you. Just take your time, make sure you understand how these words are relating to each other and all of the different sentences that you work with, and you should be good to go. And remember, all of the things, all the different verbs we're learning in this booklet are just like any other verb that you have worked with in the past. So if you have any questions, please contact the owner of your Gideon Center or whoever grades your grammar.